eyes and immediately get pulled into everything outside of them. Messages, demands, worries, noise. And before they've even taken their first full breath, they've already surrendered their power. But what if you did the opposite? What if you started your day by taking it back? Jim Rohn once said, either you run the day, or the day runs you. It's not just a clever phrase, it's a truth that separates the average from the excellent, the overwhelmed from the focused, the lost from the driven. The quality of your life is directly linked to the quality of your mornings, and the quality of your mornings begins with the quality of your thoughts. That's why this moment matters. Because right now, before the world gets loud, you have a window, a chance, a moment to speak directly to yourself. To program your focus, your energy, and your emotions for the day ahead. Not just with positivity, but with power and here's the secret most people miss. The mind listens. It doesn't filter. It doesn't fact check. Whatever you repeat with emotion, the mind accepts as truth. So the question becomes, what are you choosing to believe? What are you saying to yourself? Whether you realize it or not, you see, when you wake up and say nothing, life fills in the silence for you. And life, especially a distracted, demanding world, will always push you toward reaction, fear, self-doubt, and urgency. But when you choose the first words, you reclaim the steering wheel. Think about that. One sentence, spoken with belief, can shift your entire emotional state. It can reframe how you see problems. It can turn pressure into purpose. It can take fear and turn it into fire. That's why we don't start the day with to-do lists or panic or guilt about what we didn't get done yesterday. You started with intention, but we started with intention, not with clarity, with strength, not because what you say first. Leads everything that follows. Jim Rohn believed in the power of personal philosophy, that the words we live by shape the life we live in. He didn't believe in waiting for the right mood or perfect condition. So ask yourself, are you setting the tone or letting the noise set it for you? Because here's the truth. Your mind is a garden, and every morning you plant seeds. If you plant doubt, you harvest hesitation. If you plant fear, you harvest inaction. But if you plant belief, commitment, and focus, you harvest greatness, and you don't need hours. You don't need perfection. You just need a few strong truths, spoken with clarity, spoken with fire. Before the world has a chance to distract you. That's what this video is about. 5 powerful things to say to yourself every single morning. Not just to feel good, but to become the kind of person who creates results, impact, growth, and success. This isn't empty motivation. It's mental conditioning. The same way your body needs fuel and movement to thrive, your mind needs direction and repetition and repetition. And when you give your mind the right words at the right time, you stop surviving your day and you start commanding it. You start becoming the kind of person who makes decisions, not excuses. The kind of person who leads, not follows. Who creates, not complains. Who builds momentum, not just waits for it. And that transformation? That shift in how you think, feel, and act. It starts with what you say the moment you open your eyes. So if you've ever felt stuck, tired, burned out, if you've ever looked at your goals and thought, can I really do this? Or stared into the mirror wondering, am I enough? This is your reminder. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need every answer. But you do need a voice inside you that's louder than your fear, not a voice that speaks truth louder than excuses. A voice that wakes up with purpose and says, this day is mine and I'm ready to use it fully. By the end of this video, you'll have 5 powerful statements, 5 tools, 5 commands to begin every day with clarity, confidence, and conviction, because the world doesn't give power. It responds to it now. And starting tomorrow, that power will come from you. And once you understand the power of speaking to yourself, you realize the first truth that must be declared every morning is this: I am responsible for my life. Say it. Let it echo inside you. This single sentence holds the weight of transformation. Because the moment you claim full responsibility for your life is the moment everything changes. But it's not about blame. It's not about guilt. It's about power. Responsibility is not a burden. It's the key to freedom. Jim Rohn said it clearly. You must take personal responsibility. You cannot change the circumstances, the seasons, or the wind, but you can change yourself. And yet, most people spend their lives waiting for someone else to make it easier. Worry time, waiting for the right mood, waiting for someone to save them, validate them, choose them, validate them, choose them. But no one is coming, and that's not a tragedy. That's a gift, because when you stop waiting, you start becoming. Responsibility is the quiet force that builds extraordinary lives. It says, I own my choices, I own my attitude, I own my results. Not because it's always easy, but because it's always worth it. The world will give you every reason to play small, every excuse to quit, every distraction to steal your focus. But when you stand up and say, this is my life, and I will not hand it over to circumstances, you take the pen back. You become the author again. And here's what most people don't understand. Responsibility is not just about what happens outside of you. It's about how you choose to respond inside. You can't always control what life throws at you, but you can control your thoughts. You can control your effort. You can control the story you tell yourself when things get hard. And that story matters, because your story becomes your standard. Say it to yourself every morning with conviction. I am responsible for my energy today. I am responsible for my focus. I am responsible for how I show up, no matter how I feel. That statement alone can break the chains of victimhood, because the moment you stop pointing fingers, you start opening doors. Stop waiting for motivation and start building discipline. You stop needing approval and start trusting your inner voice. You stop fearing failure and start using it as fuel. Responsibility isn't something you carry. It's something you claim. It's not about perfection. It's about intention. It's about choosing to rise again and again, no matter what happened yesterday. There's a deep confidence that grows inside those who take ownership. They don't need to shout it. They don't need to prove it. They live it quietly, powerfully, consistently. And when things go wrong, they don't crumble. They adapt. When things get hard, they don't hide. They focus, because they know their life is a reflection of their decisions, not their conditions. Think about that. Your current reality is not just chance. It's a result of patterns, habits, standards you've accepted. And the good news, that means it can be changed, because anything you created, you can recreate. Anything you allowed, you can stop allowing. Anything you tolerated, you can now rise above. But only if you take full responsibility. This mindset is rare. It's not what the world teaches, but it's what every leader, every champion, every creator lives by. You'll never hear a strong person say, it's someone else's fault. They've learned the truth, that power comes with ownership. And ownership begins the moment you stop saying a why me and start saying a try me. So tomorrow, when you wake up, before the noise, before the rush, look in the mirror and say it. I am responsible for my life. I will not wait. I will not blame. I will lead myself. Say it until you believe it. Say it until it becomes who you are. Because once you own your life, you own your future. And once you stop running from responsibility, you start running toward your potential. That is the path. That is the path. That is the power. That is where everything begins. And once you've claimed responsibility, truly owned it, the next truth rises naturally from within. I have the power to change that someday. Not maybe. Not if everything lines up perfectly, but right now. In this moment, you are not fixed. You are not finished. You are not stuck in the version of you that existed yesterday. There is no rule that says who you've been is all you'll ever be. That's a lie built by fear. A lie built by comfort. A lie repeated so many times it starts to feel like truth. But it's not truth. It's resistance. And resistance is what stands between who you are and who you can become. Jim Rohn said it best. If you don't like how things are, change it. You're not a tree. Think about that. You're not rooted to one place. You're not bound by your past. You are a human being, the most adaptable, creative, and powerful force on the planet when aligned with purpose. You can change your habits, your attitude, your environment, your entire trajectory, but change begins with belief, and belief begins with choice. Every morning, you must choose to believe in possibility over limitation, to believe that the small steps matter, to believe that today, not tomorrow, is your opportunity. Change doesn't always come in a breakthrough. It comes in quiet decisions, invisible moments. The second you say, enough. The second you whisper, I want more. And I'm willing to do what it takes. The problem is, too many people wait to feel ready. But readiness is a myth. Action creates readiness. Movement builds momentum. Clarity comes after the decision, not before it. So when you wake up each morning, don't ask if you feel ready. Don't check your motivation like it's some kind of fuel gauge. Instead, declare it. I have the power to change. I have the power to begin. I have the power to shift my story. today. Day. Because that truth alone can break the chains of self-doubt. It interrupts the pattern. It reminds your mind that you are not your fear, not your failure, not your past, your possibility in motion. And let's be honest, you already know what needs to change. You know the habits that drain you. You know the excuses that slow you. You know the places you've been playing small, hiding from your potential. Knowing isn't enough. What creates transformation is declaring that you can change, and then acting like it's non-negotiable, even if it's uncomfortable, especially when it is. Because growth lives where comfort dies, and your future is built in the discomfort you're willing to face today. No one will hand you permission. No one will tell you it's the perfect time. It's your job to speak life into your day, to speak strength into your soul. To tell yourself, yes, it's hard, but I am not here for easy. Not in waiting, but in doing. That path may not be clear, but your power is. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need a perfect plan. You just need to start walking, step by step, decision by decision. You'll live a life that reminds others what's possible when someone chooses to show up. Fully, fearlessly, and with gratitude for the day they've been given. When you begin each morning grounded in these 5 truths, responsibility, power, worth, discipline, and presence, something begins to shift deep within you, not just in how you think, but in how you live, because now you're not waking up to survive the day. You're waking up to lead it. You're not hoping for motivation to strike. You've become the kind of person who creates it. This is the beginning of a different life, a life where you don't shrink from challenges, you grow through them. Where you don't avoid pressure, you rise under it. Where you don't let your circumstances define you. You define your circumstances. Every time you speak these 5 truths to yourself, you're doing more than reciting words. You're rewriting your programming. You're reshaping your self-image. You're reminding your subconscious that you are in control. That your life is not an accident. It's a reflection of the standards you choose to hold. And the more you speak these truths, the more your actions begin to align. You stop making decisions based on fear. You stop chasing approval. You stop reacting to life and start designing it, moment by moment, day by day. That's the power of identity-based change. You don't just act like the person you want to be. You become them. From the inside out. Because success isn't about doing more. It's about becoming more. And becoming more starts with reminding yourself who you really are, before the world tries to convince you otherwise. So don't treat these 5 truths as optional. Don't treat them like nice affirmations to say if you have time. They are tools, weapons, anchors that they are your reset, your protection. Your inner fire. In a world full of noise, distraction, fear, and pressure, you need that fire burning strong every morning, before the noise, before the expectations, before the chaos of life tries to pull you away from your center. Come back to these truths. I am responsible for my life. I have the power to change, so I am worthy of success. My discipline will create my freedom. A day is a gift. I will use it fully to let them shape your mindset. Let them strengthen your heart. Let them remind you of who you are and what you're capable of, because the world doesn't give power. It responds to those who already know they have it, and now you do.